Assalamu alaikum. Peace. I am Coach Nazir, one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as one of the authors of the new book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. So if you do not already have your copy, what are you waiting for? With that being said, I want to welcome you because I'm going to conduct a webinar. All right. And the webinar is going to be talking about being fiscally fit. I've had lots of people ask me and wonder, you know what? When you practice polygyny, for those of you who don't know me, I'm going to share with you a number of different things. But polygyny specifically means a man who is married to multiple women. And I practice polygyny. I have two incredible wives. We have a pretty large family. And many people know that we've been traveling the world for the last couple of years. And one of the main questions I get, especially from men, is, how do you do it? All right. It's already a headache and expensive to live today, especially with this inflation after COVID. So how do you do it? So I'm going to be sharing that with you, how we travel the world to do that without a job. I guess that's the most important piece, right? Like, how do you do it without a job? We were not stationed in different countries with any type of military, anything like that, nor were we somewhere working as employees. So I'm going to go into detail with that because I was very concerned about money and polygyny to begin with, clearly, because it makes sense. Sometimes people think that one of the myths is that you have to be very, very rich in order to practice it, or, you know, the people who abuse it don't have money at all. So I'm going to go into that. But before I get started, I'm going to wait about a minute or two, you know, so you can share, let other people know what we have going on. We will have question and answer. So if you're watching this live, all right, you have an opportunity to ask questions, go into detail, and we do have people who are part of the VIP, who registered in their VIP, and we're going to have a private 30-minute coaching session afterward because I'm going to get into some detail. One of the things I love, especially when catching someone live, is that I have a problem with answers that can't be questioned, but I have no problem at all with questions that may not be able to be answered. And I'm going to do my best in order to share that with you because there are ups and downs, there's backs and forths, there's all kinds of things, especially when it comes to the dynamics of polygyny. But tonight we're going to be digging in, and depending on where you are in the world, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending again where you are in the world, we're going to be digging into the details of getting money when it comes to polygyny. So again, about 30, 60 seconds, we'll officially get started. But what I do want to do is go ahead and make sure I have our branded intro for everybody. So here we go. All right, good stuff. Now, here's the deal. Since we are getting started, if you don't have something to write with and something to write on, I would strongly encourage you to do so. One of my mentors told me a long time ago, and I believe it and I know it to be true. He said it's better to trust a short pencil any day over a long memory. We come from a society where it's important and imperative for us to write things down, not only just for the kinesthetic learning that goes along with it, but we're more likely to remember it, even if it's something that you've heard before. And I personally like to teach in layers. So I'm going to share with you what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go over it. I'll share some different examples. I'll take Q&A, and we will go from there. So with that being said, let me see if this is my intro. Let's go.
Salam and peace, everyone. I'm Mike, a racially ambiguous avatar, and I want to welcome you to the start of Coach Nazir's Fiscally Fit Financial IQ webinar. You will want to stay till the end because this presentation will be mind-blowing, plus you'll see me again. Even though I only exist in a digital world, from what I heard, word on the internet is that I'm quite attractive. By the way, if you are watching from a social media stream like Facebook or YouTube, then you are missing out on the chat and interaction only reserved on the official webinar page. Go to oprfiscallyfit.com to access us there. Okay, that's enough from me. Here's Coach Nazir, the humanoid.
All right, Coach Nazir, making sure my speakers and everything together. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comment box. I will be reviewing them as we proceed. All right, good stuff. Let me see. Make sure I'm on the right screen here and that we're good to go. All right, excellent. Now, Fiscally Fit Financial IQ webinar. One of the most important things when it comes to polygyny are the measurables. The measurables consist of time and money. And I call them measurables because they're easily measured. They can be tracked in a ledger. They can be tracked in an app. All right. And money is one of the easiest things to track. All right. The income, the outcome, or outgoing, if you will. So let's get busy. And I'm going to be, let me see if I'm a little small here. Yeah, I'm a little small here on your screen, but you should be able to see me and what we have going on. So prayerfully that'll be good. Or let me see. This is a better view. You can let me know which one you prefer. No, not this one. All right, this one here may be better. So you can see what's going on my screen. If you can't read, let me know, and we could always switch back to this one. It's not that important. I have my noggin on the screen, but prayerfully you are able to see everything. And let's go. All right. Let me make sure everything is up here. Okay, it's not up here. All right, let me go. Now, see, one of the things you'll know is live because there's no cuts. So anytime I need to make sure I'm in the right area, especially with this software, then I will go and start at the beginning, right? That's the best place to start. So let's go. Now, again, here's the agenda. Number one, find out where you are financially and why. Number two, what I do. People ask again, looking at today and where you come from and the different challenges you've been through, what would you have to do if you had to start it all over? Then we're going to talk about this MMM formula for 2023. It's funny because right now we're in a season where, people call it the holiday season, right? Because there's so many holidays, or not so many holidays, there's stuff that's going on back to back. And one of the big challenges right now is even doing and conducting something like this. All right, we're talking about a webinar, we're talking about Fiscally Fit. But one of the things I know is that the upper hand is better than the lower hand. Apart from Muhammad alayhi salam, best human being to ever walk the planet, say, the upper hand is better than the lower hand. And that simply means the hand that is able to give, the hand that is able to help, to be able to donate is better than the one that's requesting, asking, or looking for a handout. And I know how it is to receive a handout, having been there, knowing what actual food stamps are versus having a card to do things discreetly with these days. So we know that the upper hand is better than the lower hand. So being able to give to different causes, whether that's dealing with what's going on in Philistine and being able to give to causes that can help and assist in Gaza or any other conflict around the world, or set things up for Sadaqah Jariyah, for that perpetual charity. After you're going, you need to have something in addition to your dua, in addition to your prayers. So that's one of the reasons we decided to go ahead and proceed, especially during the season people consider holiday season and buying season and all that, because it's very, very important. You will see some animations here that move and get me to make sure I'm doing them right. Come on now, work with me. All right. Let's go first into evaluating. First step to change is awareness. We know that no matter if you're talking about addictions, if you're talking about marriage, relationships, and I know that I prefer facts over feelings, being logical over emotional when it comes to making great decisions. All right, one of the things I've said before is, ignoring or being complacent simply enables delusion. Miss me with the bovine excrement. I have a very small bovine excrement meters just because I had mentors that had straight talk with me. They let me know and they asked me questions and they challenged me and they stretched me, but they got my permission to do so. So even though you may not be one of my coaching clients or anything at the time, I'm going to ask you as we go through this presentation, and my goal is not really to go through the presentation to get the information to you, but it's to really get you through to the presentation, if that makes sense. Okay, so if I have your permission to push you or to stretch you, as long as in the direction of your goals, whatever they may be, then I will ask for that permission. If not, look, you can sign off, you can click out, you can exit, you can scroll, continue doing whatever else you were doing. It's fine. No worries. We'll still be friends. All right. So let's talk about where you are. Now, talking about money across the country, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics says the median weekly income, including overtime, commission, and tips for full-time workers, excluding those who are self-employed in America, was $1,041 a week, according to the second quarter of last year. So that's $54,000 annually, just over $1,000 a week. And for Black Americans or African Americans, whatever you like to call them, it's $48,297. So less than $1,000 per week. I like to get into the facts because they're facts. It's not about looking good, not about looking like you earn a lot, but in reality have nothing in that $400 or $500 purse, or have this rich belt on looking a certain way versus being that. So where's your cash coming from? This goes into really the basics. And if you know Robert Kiyosaki and enjoy his information, oh no, you don't see what I'm talking about because it's not on the screen. Come on, Coach Nazir. Let's get it. I'm gonna have to rewind it. You missed all this good stuff. Let me back it up. Yeah. Let me back this up. Let me back it up a little bit. Thank you for your patience. So I've been talking about all this. Facts over feelings. Let's get through this presentation. Let me get this presentation through to you. All right, just what I just got done mentioning. We'll go over it again, but you know what? I'll do it again. It'll save time with editing. Whew. Yeah. All right, let me make sure it's on the screen and you can see it. Okay. Yeah, there we go. That's how it is. Sound went out for a moment, everything. Thank you, Monique. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. All right, prayerfully you can hear me. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. I'm assuming you can hear me because people are still here. You're not leaving out. So I'm gonna start this from the top so you can actually see it. All right, good stuff. Appreciate it, Ariane. Now, let's get it. Do you prefer this view right here where you can see the presentation better? I'm gonna ask you that because again, we're gonna edit some of this stuff later. Or do you prefer it to be like this here? If you prefer this one, put number 2. If you prefer this one, put number 1. That will help me serve you better. This is number 1 view right here, me real small, which again is fine. I don't need to have my big noggin on the screen like that. Or right here. All right, whichever, whenever, wherever, whatever. All right, let's get it. So let's go. From the top. The first step to change is awareness. First step to change is awareness. Okay. And we know that whether that is dealing with a relationship, whether that's dealing with an addiction, something you're trying to overcome, or something that you're trying to learn. You have to know that you don't know in order to really learn. That's one of the things children are good at. They want to know everything because they already start from a default position of knowing nothing. The challenge becomes when we think we know something, then we stop our learning process. Nevertheless, first step to change is awareness. And I believe facts over feelings is essential. That allows us to grow without getting in our own way, especially in relationships, especially in polygyny. So ignoring or being complacent simply enables delusion. Miss me with the bovine excrement. That is a quote of yours truly. And we know bovine excrement meters should be low because those type of people we should avoid. So we're going to jump into where you are. Now, nationally speaking, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median weekly income, including overtime, commission, and tips for full-time workers across the country in America is just over $1,000 per week as of the second quarter of last year. Now, that's $54,000 annually, but for Black Americans like myself, or African Americans, whatever you like to call them, it's $48,000, so just under $1,000 per week. Again, facts over feelings. It's better to know the reality of things than to fake it. So you wearing expensive belts, or you might have expensive purses with no money in them. Now, I come from understanding the upper hand is better than the lower hand. The Prophet ﷺ had noted that. So being able to give, being able to donate, being able to benefit a cause or put things to the side means you have options versus having to have the lower hand out and receive or request or, depend upon somebody or something else. All right. So the upper hand is better than the lower hand. That's one of the reasons that I'm actually doing this evening, because it pains me like it pains many of you about what's going on currently in Philistine, for example, with the genocide that's going on. But one of the things that you have the ability to do when you have your finances and things in order is get extra barakah, extra blessings, and help many people. Know that you've done that in addition to your dua and your prayers. All right, extremely important. Again, also, of course, for your family. So where's your cash coming from? This is one of the first rules that I learned. One of the first laws I really implemented in my life after reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this quadrant.
How to differentiate one from the other. Income statements and balance sheets are not just for companies. Every household should have them in order to track their finances and make sound financial decisions. The balance sheet contains your assets and liabilities. The income statement includes all of your income and expenses for the month. Cash flow is the net sum between income and expense. Cash flow tells the story of how a person handles money. Now let's examine the cash flow patterns of the poor, the middle class, and the rich. Let's start with the poor. This is how their balance sheet looks. Most of the time, they only have one source of income, which is a salary, and they have lots of expenses like rent, food, taxes, transportation, etc. Poor people work hard to get ahead but spend everything they got. After covering living expenses, there's nothing left for investing in assets. This is how their money flows. Here is the cash flow pattern of a middle-class person. The middle class finds itself in a constant state of financial struggle. Their primary income is through their salary. As their wages increase, so do their taxes. Their expenses include all of these of the poor and then some. Since they have a higher income, they have acquired some liabilities along the way, like personal residences, cars, student loans. And these liabilities take money out of their pocket every month. The middle class spend their lives buying liabilities instead of assets. Their expenses tend to increase in proportion to their salary increase. Instead of investing in income-producing assets, they treat their home as their primary asset. This is how their money moves. Lastly, let us see what is the cash flow pattern of the rich. The main difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich have assets that are working for them, so they don't rely on a salary. The rich dedicate their lives to investing in assets and minimizing liabilities. The asset column of their balance sheet generates more than enough income to cover expenses, and the remaining balance is reinvested into the asset column. The asset column continues to grow, and therefore the income it produces grows with it. The result is that the rich get richer. On your way to riches, model a way that's proven to be working. It's not easy, but it's simple. Track your cash flow, fill out your balance statement and income statement monthly, and examine your pattern. And next time you have some extra cash, invest in an income-producing asset instead of a liability. How does your cash flow pattern look at the moment? Do you have income?
All right, I guess it's important for me to make sure I come back right after that video ends, right? So the question is, which quadrant are you getting money from? All right. There's the E, the B, the S, and the I. The E, of course, is the employee. There's the B for business, big business, meaning that it's run on systems. Now, understand system is an acronym standing for save yourself some time, energy, and money. That means you can walk away from that business, it'll still run without you and likely be doing better, even without your input. There's the S for self-employed, specialized, or whatnot. And then there's the I for investing. All right. So here's the thing. The reality is that most people have to have a job because their money is unemployed. They don't know how to make it work for them. Very, very important to understand the difference. So the question I'm going to ask you to jot down is, where are you? Which one? Oh, my goodness. She said she couldn't hear. I hope you can hear me now. Prayerfully, you can, sis, and then that's good. And I just resolved that by making sure I was on screen. If not, let me know. I'm checking the comments back and forth. I'm trying to make sure I am staying on track. So fill in your numbers. It's your income sheet. when you are practicing polygyny, actually, when you're an adult and you don't go back to school anymore, or even if you do go back to school, it really doesn't matter. I've never been to a bank or been around investors and they ask me for my school report card. This is actually your report card. So, men, this is actually your report card when it comes to your money. When you look at an income statement, if you look at that top left box that says income, all right, the first thing says your salary. I mean, what is your salary? What is your wage, if you will, if you work in a job? Under that, your interest, what do you have that's coming in? Interest as in business interest. I'm talking about interest as in riba, because we don't get that. Or your dividends that get paid back from different passive assets. And of course, your real estate and your businesses. What's coming in there? Because what's coming in there goes and pays for the thing right under it, the expenses. Of course, you got your taxes and different payments and things and so on and so forth. That's a basic thing to figure out right away. Where are you at? Do you have an A, a B, a C, a D? Again, the median income that I shared from the Bureau of Labor Statistics between $48,000 to $54,000 a year. All right, and that was last year before those stimulus checks, inflations started coming back to hit us. So keep that in mind. Fill in your numbers. One of the great parts is, as we go through today, I'm going to give you something at the end. It's a checklist. So make sure you plug in and stay to the end so you can go ahead and download it for yourself as we continue to have our conversation. Now, I learned a while ago that I'm the asset. My mentor said, look, get an asset, Coach Nazir. He said, if you go to work and you're working a job, you're simply renting yourself out to a company. Your company is renting you, all right, buying you for wholesaling and selling you basically for retail. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, you're the asset. Look, every person has a unique set of skills, experiences, and perspectives that they bring to the table, making them their own biggest asset. Your ideas or lack thereof, your biggest crutches, saying what you can't do or don't learn or what have you, is self-decided. So by recognizing this and investing in yourself, we can unlock our full potential, create a brighter, more fulfilling future. Now, let me talk to you about a few different areas when it comes to being the plug. When I say you're the plug, you're the one who determines whether or not you are working a job, if you have a side hustle, no matter what it may be. So this is what it means. There's some industry, it's called the knowledge commerce industry. So you've all taken part of it. I mean, you've all went to YouTube to learn something. I don't care if you need to learn how to change the oil in something, how to fix something in your home, how to install, how to design. How to is the second largest phrase searched on YouTube. It's used for two things in particular: entertainment and education. And I tell my children all the time, utilize YouTube as your personal growth learning university. So the knowledge commerce industry, just to read this for you, since it's a lot of text, the industry involves the creation, packaging, and selling of knowledge-based products and services such as online courses, ebooks, webinars, consulting services, or even books, for example. That's the largest knowledge commerce thing that's been selling and that continues to sell. Hence, for example, our Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored book, right? All right. It leverages the power of the internet, digital technologies, and so on and so forth. Now, according to Forbes, it's going to be about $331 billion by 2025. All right, it's currently at $240 billion a year. Now, for those of you who know about colleges or been to college or get degrees in universities, again, I'm not against them for someone who is going to really specialize in something, whether you're a doctor, maybe you're a lawyer, whether you're building buildings or as an architect or whatnot, you're being an engineer or something very specific. I think it's very important you receive a education where you get qualified in these things and there's tests and the checks and balances. Otherwise, I believe it's a scam. Scam standing for people end up leaving, scam. They're still confused about money. One of the things they do not teach us in the school system is about money for a reason. When you're dealing with the Rockefellers and the Carnegies who formed the General Education Board, in particular in the U.S., that copied the Prussian education system, and you know that they're quoted as saying, look, I didn't develop the school system in order to create thinkers. I created it to have obedient workers. Then you understand why they don't teach us about money. Money is not something hard to understand. The concept is not something that you really have to go to school to learn. I think it was Mark Twain who said it best. Never let schooling interfere with your education. You may be asking, all right, what does that have to do with polygyny? I'm still talking about the first measurable. The first and one of the most elusive measurables that keeps people in poverty. And if you're in poverty, you shouldn't be practicing polygyny anyway. And if you are, especially if you're a woman, in whether you practice polygyny or not, I'm a strong believer in doing things for yourself and on your own, not being under the thumb of somebody else, a boss, telling you where to be and how to do and so on and so forth, which led to a lot of people taking advantage of women in particular, or women prostituting themselves, being taken advantage of, feeling they had no other choice. All right. But being in control of the income really matters. So let's talk about the knowledge commerce industry and break down some people that you may know. Tony Robbins, for example, right? My man got a net worth of over $500 million. People know him as a motivational speaker. He's a life coach, author of several self-help books. Or people like Brian Tracy. I mean, there's Les Brown, there's Jim Rohns, there's the Brenda Burchards. We can go on and on and on, but they had these different books. Authors, motivational speakers, over 50 million books. If you know of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, all right, with Jack Canfield, for example, over 100 million books sold. Of course, goes into his courses, into almost a $500 million enterprise. Eckhart Tolle, German-born spiritual teacher, Power of Now, for example, over 70 mil. Now, you may ask, what are these people's degrees? But I'm pretty sure you won't ask that because Tony Robbins doesn't have any. He has the experience in the studying and investing in himself and turn that into helping others, which now, again, over $500 million net worth. Deepak Chopra, Suze Orman, Brene Brown, Jack Canfield, I mentioned. So they built it off of sharing information and knowledge to empower people. Now, this is what I like about online courses and digital assets. For those of you who don't know, prior to establishing outstanding personal relationships is really because we kind of found a formula that worked for us in polygyny. And we had to decide, do we want to share this to other people to go ahead and benefit them as well? Because we were getting asked left and right. Oh my goodness, hey, your wives, they talk to each other, they're friends, they do this and that. And, really, how'd you figure this thing out? And we were constantly being asked about that. And we know that when people practice polygyny, the most successful tend to be quiet. Be quiet. It's nobody else's business. They under the radar, they're just kind of doing their thing. And we either had to do that or help people. And we want to benefit more people because there's a hadith of the Prophet Islam that says Allah Ta'ala loves those who benefits the most people. So that really made a lot of sense to us. And we decided, forget, we've already taken shots from our relatives by accepting Islam and becoming Muslims. We're already black in America, so we know how things feel as being second-class citizens. So let's go ahead and benefit more people by sharing some of our experiences. So we created several different courses to help people. And by investing in ourselves in the personal development industry, we're already further ahead. So here are 4 of my top reasons when it comes to online courses. And many don't know, but I had formed over 10 years ago now, Outstanding Muslim Parents, to help parents, Muslim parents in particular, when it comes to raising their children. I have a book on that called Muslims Parenting on Purpose, or POP, as I call it, to really help people with that in an online course, did a television show, and so on and so forth. But top 4, number 1 is a low overhead. You don't have to do what people had to do back in the 80s and 90s and go into a film studio and make sure you pay these engineers to mix things up and hook it up. You don't have to do it anymore. Scalability is very, very easy. I mean, if you have $1,000 product and you're selling 10 a month, it's over 6 figures a year. You're already in the top 10% of income earners in the entire country. Just 10, right? All right, fulfilling work. I mean, you can work on your passion. There are so many people. There are people teaching people how to do roofing, teaching them how to knit. All right, I didn't know the difference between knitting and crocheting until recently, but they have courses on these. I don't care if you're talking about canning tomatoes or relationships. All right, teaching, of course, about how to make money in different areas or different niches. I mean, and you could do it from anywhere in the world. Again, one of the things we were able to do, travel to several different countries and have my children world schooled. All right, and be able to get different experiences and now plan out which other countries you want to go to and live without having to worry about the geographical restrictions of a job or an employer telling me what I can and cannot do. So, as I just got done speaking about a little bit, here's some of Outstanding Muslim Parents stuff. I still have, we still have the business and the company to help people out.
You held me in your arms and wiped away my tears. Not even in a million years can I ever repay you for what you've done for me. You were there when I felt that there was no place for me. You were there to show me how to truly believe in the miracle of creation. in the good and the bad. Oh, how I love you, Mom and Dad.
Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back to Outstanding Parents, where I'm Nazir bin Nasib, your host here today, and one of the co-founders of OutstandingMuslimParents.com. Well, alhamdulillah, today's episode is very, very special. So again, I always suggest to grab something to write on, something to write with.
All right. That was one of, again, that was the intro to one of the shows. We did 30 episodes with Huda TV to really empower Muslim parents as part, again, of this knowledge commerce industry, where being able to really reach, tens of thousands of parents was amazing and still is amazing. And we still have the business going to this day. So, all right, here's the thing. I want to talk to you about really developing a dope curriculum when it comes to knowledge commerce, because you may be asking yourself, what do I know? Who would pay me for something I know? If anyone has ever said you've done something well, or they want to pick your brains on something, or they could continue to come to you for advice, here's this thing. Now, I know that when people value what you do, then there may be an opportunity there. The reason we formed Outstanding Muslim Parents is because people saw how our children, how my daughters, for example, I had 4 daughters first, followed by 6 sons. I had 6 children when starting in polygyny, and then after practicing polygyny, I had 4 more children. Okay, but I had 4 daughters first. So as my daughters are growing, they're 4 and 5 years old. They have the kimar, they want to look like their mom and everything. So we were teaching them specific things where their behavior was good. They wanted to cover and have their hayah and all this stuff before it was even required of them. So other parents were asking, hey man, what are you doing for your kids? My kids are wild. They don't have a bedtime. They jump up and down. They don't pray with us. All of these different things. And I'm like, look, we keep saying this over and over and over. And I was learning about the internet and different businesses and so on as I was coming up as an entrepreneur. So that's how OMP, or Outstanding Muslim Parents, was born. Then we had to develop curriculum, we invested in ourselves and so on. So I want to talk to you about some AI tools that are out. Now, I'm sure if you haven't heard of already, like ChatGPT, literally there are thousands, but she is a beast and the monster of them all. I love her to death. So talk about employing different AI systems. So system, save yourself some time, energy, and money. Okay. Websites, for example, there are systems that help me. So some of you register for this website at oprfiscallyfit.com. So you got the email right away, you got a reminder, and you actually got some extra bonuses, including some people are already taking advantage of after we finish this tonight or today or this morning, wherever you are in the world. We're going to be together and we're going to go back and forth about a half an hour or so, really just consulting and sharing some insights on a deeper level for you and your business or your business ideas. All right, that allows you to help build relationships, whether sending emails out or texts out, or this content right now, even though it's created live, and we'll chop up some different parts and put it up later, maybe make some shorts and reels and kind of educate people with this community service content, but it will work for you all around, no matter what. So emails is AI system, text, AI system, phone broadcast, all of that helps you build relationships. And I had to know, as my mentor asked me, what's my freedom number? What's your freedom number? What does it take? So here, matter of fact, let's go. People say, oh, I got this $1 million idea, right? But you have to manifest it. Now, what you're looking at on the screen, let me see if I can make it a little bit larger. Nah, I guess that'll be how big it is. No worries. This is a system. On the top left, what you see is an ad. Like it says a Facebook ad, right? The Facebook ad pushes to a landing page, and the landing page gathers an email and puts you into an email sequence or a text sequence, follows up and so on to build that relationship with you. And it does it automatically. It automates it. So if a person is ready, they can book a call, they can come back, they can purchase something, and they can move on. You can serve almost an infinite number of people this way with systems working on your behalf. That's called leverage. All right. So people ask me, what question, what should I charge with something? And they ask about the pieces or how many hours they have in a course and so on and so forth. Right. But I let people know, look, you are currently being paid, even on your job, if you have a job, in direct proportion to the size of the problem you can solve. So if you go to a grocery store and somebody's bagging groceries, that's not a big problem. So on the pay scale, that's relatively low. Okay. So if you are a school bus driver, you get paid more than that. There are different requirements and skills that are required for that. If you are a a team organizer or leader and a great communicator, then you get paid more for that. There are different levels of value. So the people, for example, who have the imagination, who can help start movements and communicate that effectively, whether that's a Steve Jobs, he wasn't the engineer that crafted stuff, or even a Bill Gates, for example. We're talking about technology. All right. He didn't even create Microsoft Word or DOS and the Microsoft original operating systems. All right. He paid somebody else to do it, but he was able to market it utilizing his voice. So the size of the problems you can solve will determine and dictate how much you earn. All right. The only person I know in my lifetime has revolutionized 5 industries, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs can literally, this thing here that, we call it a phone or this device, revolutionized, starting back in 2007, several different industries that can make right now, me coming to you right now, I could be broadcasting or streaming right from the phone, that device. Revolutionized the movie industry where you can make movies and videos and everything with it. Take audios with it, listen to music or lectures or whatever, all that stuff with it. But he was somebody who had a big imagination, kind of like the Walt Disney thing, if you will. But don't support Disney or Disney Plus either. So let's talk about why I say colleges and universities many times are scams unless you're going for something very, very specialized. And even then you get played. But 75% of people that graduate not only end up in debt, but they end up working in a field that is unrelated to whatever they went to school for. And these numbers are pretty low. But let's look at the trajectory. Private schools, 22 to 23, almost 40,000. Public out-of-state schools, 23,000. Public in-state schools says 10,000. All right, this comes from usnews.com, these numbers. But we can look at the rising cost of college in the U.S. Back in 1980, right, all the way to 2020 with COVID. Look at these numbers. But this is up 236%, or inflation is up 236%. But the schools increased, what is that, over 1,200%. But has that changed with salaries? That people have more security with these different degrees, or are they just looking like receipts now hanging on the wall? And again, I'm not against it, but I do understand what Mark Twain says: never let schooling get in the way of your education. So if you are an engineer or you're building buildings and architecture or what have you, then go ahead, make sure you know what you're doing. You're in medicine or law, know and understand what you're doing. Make sure you get your degrees and are qualified in those areas. But outside of those things, going to school for business, good luck with that. You'll be far behind. Let's continue. All right. Before I go into all of this, I'm going to talk about what we do, because that's the next slide. Boom, boom. Execute. Where we at? Execute or educate? All right. Went over educate. Cool. This is good stuff, because now I can make sure I'm in the right area. All right. First of all, let me break and ask you, do you have any questions thus far? Let me go ahead and switch the screen. Any questions so far about what I covered? Because I know some people say, look, Coach Nazir, you talk a little fast, but you may not understand that my mother is Boricua. She's Puerto Rican. And Puerto Rican Spanish is some of the fastest Spanish. And though I didn't pick up the language that much when I was a child, I did pick up the speed. All right. So let me see. A couple of different things. I want to talk to you about actually where you stand in this knowledge commerce industry and the opportunities that are available. And in doing so, I want to share some things with you. Let me find it real quick, just to kind of share with you some of the story of what we've been dealing with and been able to do after implementing this in our lives.
All right, let me see. The sun is peaking. Let me see if I make sure I get it. Yesterday I was talking. I missed it.
Many groups as possible and start giving your talk and start giving your presentation. You're not supposed to sit at home, right? Giving talks, right? And that's what I'm doing all the ones. I'm saying, okay, yeah, I'm taking.
All right, good stuff. Okay. Let me see. Where are we at here? Okay. So any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts that you have right now when it comes to the knowledge commerce industry and where you sit, if you will? And if you've already received our book, if you ordered our book and you received your copy, I would like to know that as well. Let us know where you got it at. If you are international, again, we have the customs forms and all that stuff. For you can be a little bit more challenging, of course, due to the tracking. But if you have already received it, we would like to know how you feel there. Let me know what industry, if you had to teach something, all right, what would someone pay you to teach? Or what could you teach? What do you have a passion for that you have helped someone else already with to begin with? That could be starting up businesses. I mean, for example, matter of fact, I'll share some stories with you of some different people and just a couple different testimonials while I sit and...
Hi, this is Yusuf Chowdhury,
Sure.
the owner of Online Business Owners. I'm so excited today to talk to you about my awesome mentor, Coach Nazir. He was one of the reasons that actually helped me to take this business more than 2 decades ago to a successful digital marketing agency here in San Antonio, Texas. And because of his, not just the mentorship, not just the courses, but his guidance.
That was Yusuf. And Yusufied is an amazing thing when you have the ability to empower and equip people that at one time just doubted themselves, had low self-esteem, if you will, because when you go to school, it's amazing, but a number of different longitudinal studies show that when children go to school, they're 5 years old, they're a lot more creative, they have a large imagination, they believe they can do anything. And if you have children, like I have children, you probably know your children think they can swim in the bathtub. Then they get in the real pool, and it's a whole different thing. Or they feel they can do just about anything. However, as they go through schooling years, especially in school, there is a crushing of independence. There's a serious tone and direction put on compliance and blind obedience, so that by the time they're in high school, just about 5 to 10% even have any type of high quality self-esteem, if you will. All right. And unfortunately, they don't teach us how to have good relationships with ourselves, how to speak to ourselves well. It's more, again, about obedience to the powers that be. And when you understand how the Rockefellers and Carnegies and the General Education Board was set up, then you would appreciate it. Matter of fact, one resource I would suggest all of you get, all right, whether you're a parent or not, is John Taylor Gatto's book, Weapons of Mass Instruction. This is a 5-time Teacher of the Year out of Massachusetts. 5-time Teacher of the Year, mind you, an educator, right, in academia, writing an entire book, breaking down his decades of really be about. It's a great read if you like physical books or even an audio book. That's called Weapons of Mass Instruction, John Taylor Gatto, which also, again, leads us to why many people are where they are financially just by not understanding the game. So I'm going to introduce you to someone who was who is even still a mentor of mine, but I met him, almost 20 years ago. Wow, it's crazy. Yeah, these light hairs telling that story, boy. But this is one of the first people I met that was earning well over $30 every single month. And this was in network marketing. I started learning how to sell in marketing and so on in network marketing. Again, I was somebody, I'm light skinned, so I turn pink when I'm speaking. I'm an introvert. I'm not somebody that want to be in front of a camera or in front of a room. But I saw somebody, the same belief system I had. He's a Muslim brother, and really shining and help. At that time, he'd helped like 6 or 7 other people already earn over 6 figures, and 3 of them already become millionaires. This is Mr. Casey Towns.
Your brother. I actually stood in line to do this testimonial, and I would gladly do it again because I'm walking with a winner. When I talk to you about my brother, Nazir, Coach Nazir, here's the thing. I've known this gentleman, this brother, this servant of the people for 20 plus years. So I look at his programs online. I look at what he's done with his family. I look at his leadership in the community, and I continue to see somebody who gives back, who puts back in. He puts more in than he takes out of the universe. So what's my point? My point is, be a part of his success system, get his trainings.
All right, good brother.
My name
Now,
is Sammy, and I just want to give this quick message about my friend, my brother, my coach, my mentor, Coach Nazir. His latest course on digital assets, to be honest, I actually had tried some of the techniques and the tools prior to signing up, and I didn't go far with them. But he really showed me a new approach and a new perspective as to what's achievable, how you can leverage your time, your energy, and your ideas and implement them very quickly and efficiently.
On my end, I don't know how it's looking on your end, but for some reason, I'm having some challenges online with connection. So if it's choppy, or maybe if my audio is going out, feel free to let me know, because it's looking a little funny on this side. So going back to traveling, if it is your goal, leave. One of my goals to really leave the States and give my children the opportunity to live somewhere else so they can experience different cultures and know that it's bigger than being in the Midwest of the United States. It's bigger than dealing with and having to settle with dealing with racism or dealing with injustice all around you locally, and that we're part of a larger ummah, we're part of a larger community. But to do it firsthand, not to have to, see it through high definition TV, but really see it up close somewhere else and give my wives the ability to experience different things, whether that's different foods or different waters, as in seas, all right, versus just, the ocean. And oceans are nice and all that kind of stuff over here, the Atlantic and the Pacific and so on. But being throughout the world in different climates and different cultures to experience life. So that was one of my reasons a long time ago, because my parents never had any passports. I mean, we never traveled out of the country. The farthest I got, which is still in the country, technically speaking, as a possession of the U.S. right now, is Puerto Rico. And I went there when I was like 5. Beautiful. But I wanted more. And I know in order to become more, you have to do something different. My parents had me when both 16 years old, as I shared a little bit earlier. So I'm born to them. They got married when I was 5 years old. 7 years later, they were divorced. Okay, so a lot of things happened. And I knew that I had to do something different. But I was going down the path of where my uncles and aunts and relatives were saying, look, by the time you're 21, you'll be locked up and dead. All right, and I knew that path was not opening things up to me, but I didn't have anyone to pull me to the side and say, listen, Nazir. And even back then, it wasn't Nazir, it was Mike. All right, changed my name. We're like, look, Mike, this is the path you're going down. But Mike was like, look, it's in you have, I don't want. So I wanted to have my own money, really make some money. But I had a great uncle who was doing very well. And he shared some different insights and things with me. And I, that pulled me to the side to let me know that there's something different. Because one of the things that stuck with me the most when he came up from Mississippi, he said, I could read and write. I mean, I couldn't read and write. Now he's in his 30s. He told me he came up, he said he couldn't read and write until he was in his 30s, but he can count money. Then he got to tell me how many blocks he owned with properties and things like that. And he sold watermelons and really how he came up and how he was humble with it. You would never know that this guy with a straw hat with his blue jeans and his, red tank top and all that would have enough cash to buy 5 Rolls Royces if he wanted to. but he invested in land, invested in buildings, and so on and so forth. And to this day, still going strong. I mean, he's in 80s, multimillionaire. So it's somebody who really inspired me, but there was no blueprint that I can duplicate. But it let me know that there was something different out there. But here's some other students have also taken advantage of what I'm speaking about with Make It, Market It, Monetize.
Purchasing the Fiscally Fit course from you at the time that I did actually came at a very bad time for me, because I had just been hit with a whole bunch of financial responsibilities. Either I invest it in my education or I just spend it on some garbage. Invested in the course. Made 2.5x immediately. And over the course of a year, that will translate to 30x plus. You break down what can often be difficult concepts. I'm in the content creation space. I've been in this space for ages. And yet, finding digestible, bite-sized pieces of information is something that is not easy to come across. When it comes to executing on monetizing your online knowledge, I needed the dummy guide. And that's exactly what you provided. Very grateful, very happy that I actually invested in it, especially at that time when it was a bit difficult for me.
I'm just saying, one of the things I knew is that I had to invest in me. Now, I didn't have it at certain times, but it made all the difference in the world. And I know I've showed a whole lot of testosterone-driven testimonials, but there are women who make it happen too.
My name is Nazir, and I am the founder and nonprofit strategist for Utopian Enterprise Business Solutions, as well as an author for my newly released book, Nonprofit Doesn't Mean No Profit. I'm just here to share my coaching experience with Coach Nazir in his Make It, Market, Monetize It fiscal program. I really thought that I had an online business because all of my classes are virtual. And Coach Nazir was really able to see that the reason why I was struggling with work-life balance and not feeling truly fulfilled is because the buckets in my life were not balanced. It just changed the game for me on how I'm creating my programs now for my students and for my clients, and really putting myself in a completely different level as it relates to my business. He was able to open up my eyes in a way that without his coaching and his level of expertise and insight, I would not be making the changes that I'm currently making in my business.
All right, so you may be asking, you know what? Why am I sharing what these people are saying? I'm sharing it because I learned that many people that want to practice polygyny, in particular, the men, that since finances are an issue, they don't know how to get it, that they need a way to do it. Now, the reality is when it comes to finances, increasing your money, starting a business, it's kind of like going to a car lot. There are many different vehicles available on a car lot, but what fits you matters. You can go to and look at Honda Accords, you can look at Kias, you can look at Toyotas, you can look at hybrids, you can look at Teslas, you can look at Bentleys, you could Rolls Royce, you can look at all of them. You can wish you had all of them or a number of different ones, but many of them can get you where you want to go. All right, it may take more, it may take a different type of fuel, or maybe you aren't able to come up with what you need to get things done. So you go ahead and get a moped or a motorcycle or possibly a bike, maybe some skates or skateboard, or maybe just some good shoes. But the thing is, the person is the one who decides what matters. Now, I had to learn something. My mentor said, hey, what are your two biggest expenses in life? And I'm like, okay, big expense. I'm thinking, okay, children, is it properties, is it taxes? Oh, he said, you know, it's close. He said taxes is number two. So, okay, cool, got that. But he said, you know, the most that you pay, or the thing that you pay the most for in life, is ignorance. I didn't understand what he meant at first. He said it's ignorance. He said, okay, think of all of your bills. You can think of taxes and break stuff down, and you can say, all right, you're in this tax bracket, so you're paying, you know, a third or even up to over 50% of what you earn to the government, because you get taxed on it repeatedly, whether that's income tax and the sales tax, or even a death tax, or it's capital gains tax when you flip a property or whatnot, not necessarily reinvest it. So you get taxed all over the place. It's called getting taxed, right? So that's one of the biggest expenses, but that's number two. So when he said ignorance, I'm like, okay, what do you mean? He said, you pay for what you don't know. He said, if you're reasonably intelligent and you're a teachable individual, all right, let's just look at being in the top 10% of income earners in the U.S. Hey, all right, if we looked at the median number with the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? Well, they said it averages about $54,000 a year. Then why not say you earn $100,000 a year? So if you're a reasonable individual, reasonably intelligent, and you're teachable, you can say, all right, you should be able to make at least an extra $100,000 a year. All right, that's not some big number. It's only $8,300 something per month. But most still don't do it. But adding on what you're doing right now, if you added on an extra $100,000 a year, that's $8,000 per month. But let's say you're earning $50,000 a year, you're right in the middle. If you're earning $50,000 per year, then what you're actually paying, if you're reasonably intelligent and teachable, you're actually paying life $50,000 per year for what you don't know. That's when I got it. That's when I got it, because I'm like, okay, yeah, I should be able to do that. I should be able to create a digital course or a program or be able to help people with knowledge and things that I've learned over the years, and I've been able to develop my expertise in, or being able to shine and show some people how to do some things. And then Robert G. Allen said it best. I was reading one of his books, Multiple Streams of Income, a while ago. And he said, I've made tens of millions of dollars in real estate. Tens of millions of dollars in real estate. Now, I don't real estate myself. I ain't made tens of millions of dollars. But he said, I made tens of millions of dollars in real estate. But I made hundreds of millions of dollars in teaching people how to make money in real estate. And I understood it, because that means there's leverage. There's leverage. See, we didn't write this book and put all these hours and all this time and everything into this book. This book only retails, it's only $39.99, right? So again, if you don't get your copy, get your copy. But we didn't put all this money into this cheap little book for $39.99, or all this effort and this time and all this to really benefit people, because it's definitely very helpful, right? But we didn't do it to make money from that, from selling books. Like, oh, I'm a bookseller. No, we want to help people and empower people with the mission. But there's a certain amount of these people who want to go deeper. They want to dive deeper into their own personal situations. So we have online courses that can help some people. We have the Polygamy Bootcamp for sales for a few $100. We have the Polygamy Masterclass that dives even deeper, 4 or 5 parts. We have the coaching. All right, we have a 12-week coaching program. Each of us has a 12-week coaching program. We have what I'm talking about now, which is the Make It, Market It, Monetize It program to help you earn income to get to the next level. So all of these different things are assets. Just like I have rental properties that are assets that pay every single month. These are assets that came from my mind through a process that empowers other people, that is halal, that is across the board, that is something that's simple to set up one time and get paid over and over and over for. So people who want to learn that system, then I would strongly suggest taking advantage of Make It, Market It, Monetize. Matter of fact, let me share that with you. You can go check it out, get some details. Totally up to you. But the question comes to, how much are you paying life for what you do not know? I have a program. It's 6 weeks. It walks you through setting up your own online digital asset to start bringing in income for you. Now, why is that important right now, especially right now during this little holiday season and all that kind of stuff, and Black Friday, yada, yada, and all this, right? It's important because many people said a year ago, oh, I'm going in 2022 or going from 2022 to 2023. Some people say I'm going from 2 to 3, meaning, marrying 2 wives to 3 wives, for example, right? Or going from monogamy to polygyny, but still haven't figured it out. Now people are getting ready to, well, 2024, we're going to be more and do all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna be good. What happened in 2023? People do this every single year, repeatedly wasting years of their life, not achieving the goals, not developing the fulfillment they want, not because there aren't options out there, but because they haven't taken advantage of it or invested in themselves to get it done. So I'm grateful and honored to be able to do so, to be able to pour into people who are ready to take their finances to the next level so that finances impact every part of your life. For those who are ready, if you're not, it's fine. If you're curious, no worries. We have a lot of community service content that we put on the YouTube channel in different places. But for those who are serious, then definitely go to Make It, Market It, Monetize.com. See what we have to offer. I actually work with you and even do business coaching with you with this course. And we're also going to be sharing with you this week how we have different payment plans for people. And we've opened that gate up. The fact of the matter is, it's much easier and better, and we can serve our clients more by working with people who have already developed themselves on a certain level of emotional intelligence and self-discipline and self-awareness than those who are brand new. I know that you have to drag somebody to get things done. You're going to have to drag them to success and drag them all the way through it. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not interested in doing that. I already have my own 10 children and teaching them and working with them and all, and so on and so forth. So, I'm not looking for any extra children. Not gonna happen. But if you're ready, no worries. Let's go ahead and get some things done. Matter of fact, I'll share a couple things with you, and then I'm going to get into our VIP coaching with those who took advantage of the VIP offer that we set up. Let me see. I think that's it. Okay, it should be good. Any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, ideas you want to share briefly before we go ahead and wrap this up? All right, good stuff. No, look, we're going to cover all that in the VIP session. Sorry, the VIP is waiting. All right, cool. No doubt. Good stuff. All right, nevertheless, if you have not already registered on oprfiscallyfit.com, do so, because for those who are interested in getting their finances up, whether it's a man or a woman or whatnot, married, single, looking at polygyny, already in polygyny or not, we do have options in different ways, different things to go ahead and get money. All right, and it's not as hard as people try to make it be. Again, General Education Board is something, but if you've been scammed, you're still confused about money, then it's time to invest in yourself. Whether it's work with me or getting a coach from wherever, really doesn't matter, but do something. And there are many things that work. I'm not going to tell you, oh, this is the only thing that worked. No, but create digital assets. I love it because it's scalability and the reasons I put forward in the presentation. So if you're doing something whether it's network marketing, you're selling something on Etsy or something that's fulfilled by Amazon and selling in their marketplace, whatever it may be, there are many different ways to increase. However, when it comes to utilizing AI right now, many people are getting left behind and will continue to get left behind because they are not taking advantage of the knowledge commerce industry, which is booming. Do not let that be you. With that being said, I'm Coach Nazir. I help people get their shift together. If you want to get your shift together when it comes to finances, go to makeitmarketitmonetizeit.com. With that, I'm out. VIPs, hold on. We're going to get started in just a second. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.